Yeah.
Just a friendly announcement. This is not an
Back
AA
past,
meeting.
look back past trauma.
Yeah.
Have to keep that very clear. I learned that early on.
I understand that very well. I understand that. So this is not an AA meeting. This
Yeah.
is just one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong as described on page 64 of the big book and the solutions contained within. This is not an all share meeting. Those shares there will be, but
Yes.
actually a question and answer meeting with Paul. Paul wanted that little shares there will be added in our opening, which I love that.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I marked a page. I'll just read a paragraph and I'll hand it over, okay? It's page 75 and it is the middle of the page. It starts with "We pocket our pride." We pocket our pride and go to it, illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past. Once we have taken this step, withholding nothing, we are delighted. We can look the world in the eye. We can be alone at perfect peace and ease. Our fears fall from us. We begin to feel the nearness of our Creator. We may have had certain spiritual beliefs, but now we begin to have a spiritual experience. The feeling that the drink problem has disappeared will often come strongly. We feel we are on the broad highway, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe. And I'll stop there if it's okay with you.
Yeah. What are these words? What are they talking about? What step are they around? Is
So
that
you're going to go into step 5. You just finished step 5 and you're going to return home. You just you said the whole this is pocketing our pride.
yeah.
We go to it telling our sponsor, I guess, our 5th step inventory.
Yeah.
Say.
Well, that's great, man. You can find these little promises of certain effects all over, eh?
Uh-huh.
So one of the things, if you, well, welcome everyone. My name is Paul, an old now member of recovery. So the 5th step was sharing it with someone else, the 4th step inventory. And the 4th step inventory can be seen, I guess, in a couple of ways, but the way we see it here is to see the exact nature of the wrong as being foreign to us. And that basically, when we look at our role in things in the 4th column of the inventory, with this understanding, you'll see something else's role in things, which is this idea of self. And in the big book, self is presented as that which has defeated us. So beyond drinking and using and all this, but self is what has defeated us. Being convinced of this. And if you become convinced of this, you'll be convinced of its foreign nature to you, that it's not you. Yeah. And this is profoundly influential over time, I found, because with knowing it, without knowing it, the real effect of all this stuff that has defeated us has been brought about by an identification as something foreign to us. Yeah. So this idea of Paul, which is built on false pride and everything else, like it just talked about, this idea of Paul is really a mental idea of Paul with fixed ideas, a lot of old ideas, which they say, unless you lose these old ideas, the results will be nil. All of this thing it's like it's a whole piece. Yeah. There's old ideas, there's living from the past, there's seeing only the past. So when a resentment occurs, if you look at the Latin word, means again, to do again, and sent is to I think it's to be alive. So we relive this shit all day. And some of them are imaginary grievances and stuff. And so we're defined by this idea of self, and then we listen to an interpretation of life based on this idea of self. And for some of us, it drove us to drink, yeah, and to do more, to drink and to use and to step on a lot of people's toes and everything else that it describes in the book. And it whips us into a condition that can become pitiful, incomprehensibly demoralizing. Yeah, and still there'll be more. Yeah, if the act of being identified as it isn't seen, and if you keep calling its manifestations yours, you're bound to be defeated by it. Yeah, it's just that simple, I feel. And you can be defeated on a glorious, blood-soaked, gory stage, or you can be defeated being physically sober. You can be defeated by self before recovery and after recovery. Yeah. Because it travels well, because wherever we are, we think it is. Yeah. So when we're talking about the topic of recovery, it's talking about the topic of recovery. And it may be talking to you that you don't need recovery. And because without knowing it, we have great faith in it. We've been listening to it for so long. We assume, a lot that's not true. We assume it's on our side, and it's a good guide and a good GPS, and we have come, hopefully we've been beaten into a recognition that it's a failed system. Yeah. Which would suck if there was only the system, but there isn't. There is other possibilities. So recognizing one system as failed will lead you to maybe being governed by another system, which is reliance or faith in the infinite. Yeah. So there isn't just one system. There isn't just one way of looking at things. Yeah. And so the way we do the inventory and sharing with another person, and it's always a trinity. That sense of the higher power is included in that. So when I'm sharing my fourth step inventory with another person, I'm sharing it in the atmosphere of that loving presence. Yeah. That's not to be forgotten. And so and the way I was taught about it was misleading on some levels. But one thing I liked, which was, if you have any hidden secrets, which most secrets are or attempt to be hidden, but a real doozy, take this opportunity to share that stuff with another person in the presence of this infinite thing. And I did. Yeah. And I got a lot of relief, even though I went into that spiritual car wash, and I came out of the spiritual car wash with one stain that didn't get washed away, which was this identification as self. Yeah. I had no idea that was going on, none, until I did. And then when I did, I saw the vastness of how it was going on. And I definitely stopped calling its manifestations mine. And that brought a lot of relief, really. And then I could deal with a resentment much different than I can deal with my resentment. Yeah. I can deal with anxiety. First of all, be clear about it. The feeling of fear is not the emotion of fear. It's a manufactured imitation of fear by mental anxiety. Yeah. If you're not threatened right now, that which is causing you dis-ease is not fear, it's mental anxiety. Let's just be clear about it. Why? I mean, if you want to get down to the exact nature of shit and the underlying causes and conditions, and if you want to name them correctly. Why call mental anxiety fear and give it that validity? Because fear is a valid emotion. It's built in. So to help us in a way to either take flight or fight in situations, but to be triggered all day by mental anxiety and just buzzing you like a little electrocution all day, that's how they keep the cow going on the same path to the trough. That's how the parasitical head subdues the host. Yeah. It just shocks it all fucking day with mental anxiety. So the host is so busy trying to get out of that, it keeps walking the same old well-worn path, yeah, of grievances and resentments and shit like that. It's like a slavery, yeah. And it's much easier to see something if you don't see it as yours, yeah. If you look at kids and then look at your kids, they're both kids, but when you see your kids, the feeling's a lot different than when you see kids. Well, when you see your resentment cooking up, and it's not called your resentment, that resentment doesn't have a long shelf life. It doesn't. It needs you to feed it for it to, yes. So when a resentment gets domesticated, it can live 60 years. Isn't that insane? It's called my resentment. And now it's used to excuse me from all these other failures in my life. And then I have a scapegoat I can blame, my parents or shit like that. Yeah, it's just insane. It really is. So the exact nature of the wrong is foreign to us. That foreignness has defeated us by us taking ourselves to be it. Yeah. So we have identified as the foreign installment, and the foreign installment is now interpreting life for us, isn't it? So this is what it's called, self-centeredness. Self-centeredness is a way of looking at things. So you see everything as how it pertains to you. That's called self-centeredness. Yeah. We're looking through that lens. Yeah. Are we self-centered? No. But can self-centeredness express itself through us? Yes, it can. Yes. Yes. So, yeah. So the fifth step for me was very powerful because I had this thing that I had done when I was young that I didn't want anyone ever to know. Yeah. And so it was taking up a lot of storage unit, and I had to pay the monthly fee. And it was extracting life from me, really, in a way. I had to pay for the security guard so no one would get close to it. So I took the advantage of saying it when this guy was listening to my fourth step. And the funny thing was, at the moment I said this thing I was never going to utter in my whole life, the guy yawned and he missed it. So I had to say it again. So I said it twice in the 30-second period, the thing I was never going to say. And I had been holding it for 20 something years, never said. Yeah. And given that, bringing that into the light, don't you see that when shit is being held in your head, it can be given a huge size. When you put it out on the table with another person in the higher power, it shrinks into a proportion that's usually easily noticed. Yes. So you're not going to you're going to see the mountain range you came in with, the fifth step event, and you're going to see it as a set of molehills. Yes. What an incredible demonstration. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I thought I was living in the Alps, and basically these are little fucking mounds I can easily cross over. Yeah. So it talks about the disease as a disease of perception and also of proportion. Yes. It blows things out of proportion, doesn't it? That's why they put that little joke in there. You're going to lose interest in self and your little plans and designs. Because when were your plans little when you were out there? They were all big plans and designs. They just put it into proportion and your little plans and designs. So what was that thing about the pride? Pride has a lot of mistaken proportion. Yes. You're picturing yourself as bigger or better than a lot of things. And it's nice to be downsized and just checking it out. Yeah. Isn't it wonderful? Truly. I mean, maybe if you were with all these special, very super clear people, you would want to hide all this shit. But we're a bunch of assholes, literally. The AA membership. I mean, you can take chances in AA because yeah, we're all stumbling and bumbling through this thing. So yeah, so this is about the fifth step, and basically it's telling you the problem won't even exist at this point. What? Maybe the problem actually never existed. Maybe the problem was living on your existence. I would say so. Yeah. Truly, as a parasitical movement, it doesn't have its own life, so it's using your life. It gives you a narrative to fucking chew on that leaves you empty and wanting more. And then you're just a ravenous, driven fucking event. Yes. Yeah. Did you think it was ever going to end? I didn't at the end. I was hopeless. I was of the hopeless variety when I was struck sober. I had spent in my life 2 years and 3 months in program. I've spent over a year in a hospital bed. I had spent a lot of fucking visits to jails for 4 days, 2 days, and tons of court cases and tons of fucking probation and shit like that. And as we say, every time you drank, you may not have gotten in trouble, but every time you got in trouble, you were drinking. Yeah. And that was that was true. So, I mean, how can't we see this? I believe because the parasite has us blind. Yeah. Like it says in that faith thing in We Agnostics on page, I think, 53, it says, without knowing this, all this shit happens. Yeah. We're out to lunch. That's why what's being presented as our meal sucks. Yeah. Because we're out to lunch. We're not aware. We're not awake. And yet we are awake. Isn't that incredible? Being awake causes the not awakeness to really suck. Yeah. If you were just not awake, you could live in a world of ignorance is bliss. But because you are awake, to not be awake to the fact that all this shit is going on, you have to have a massive muscle of denial that grows. You got to be in that denial gym a lot. And you got to drink a lot and fucking rationalize a lot because reality is just pressing in every second. Yeah, it's difficult to keep it out. Yes. But that Arnie Schwarzenegger muscle of denial, when it collapsed, man, what a relief that was. Yeah. Finally, instead of addressing all these other shit, it would the elephant in the room was addressed. Yeah. Hallelujah. Yeah. So I really, really hope that you can find what it means to you, the exact nature of the wrong. And I hope that you can get down to the causes and conditions, because that's going to uh, allow the problem not existing for you to be a new basis. Yes, it really will. Because once you're clear about something that's super clear, that clarity remains. Yes. And it's super clear that we are inherently awake. Spirit doesn't sleep. It's not unawake. We are inherently awake, yet our head keeps professing that we don't think so. Yeah. So we're believing the head more than the fact of being awake. And that's going to be reversed in this program. Yeah. Perhaps there's a better way. Instead of trusting finite self, yeah, which is listening with great devotion to the thought system, we're going to trust the infinite. Well, we're going to start realizing we have the ears to hear silence, yes, and the eyes to see nothing. We have the eyes and the ears to see and hear spirit. We do. Yeah, and hopefully that's going to grab some of the attention, and you're going to lose interest in all that shit that's fucking enslaving you. Yeah. And not that it's going to make you great, but you'll make you of maximum use. And that's one of the agendas of this program, to become of maximum use to who? To your new employer. So it can use you. Yeah. To do what? I don't know. Maybe share the message with people. Who knows? You'll find out. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's that. You want to read that again, Kathy?
I'll be happy to. It's page 75, second full paragraph. We pocket our pride and go to it, illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past. Once we have taken this step, withholding nothing, we are delighted. We can look the world in the eye. We can be alone at perfect peace and ease. Our fears fall from us. We begin to feel the nearness of our Creator. We may have had certain spiritual beliefs, but now we begin to have a spiritual experience. The feeling that the drink problem has disappeared will often come strongly. We feel we are on the broad highway, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe.
Not bad, eh?
I I'm true. It came true. It came true
Not
for
a
me.
bad, not a bad deal. And this is the funny thing is the head takes inventory all day. Yet when it comes to this inventory, it doesn't want to do it. Why is that? It doesn't want you to see your role in things because you will see its role in things. Yeah. It's hiding out in that all things are your role in things, which isn't true. You were driven. That means you're not the driver. Yeah. You're having a lot of self-imposed calamity or crises. That doesn't mean you're imposing it. It means this foreign installment is imposing calamities on you. Yeah. You're being driven, you're being imposed upon. That doesn't sound like you're the big doer, does it? It sounds like something like some kind of a bully is running your fucking day. Yeah. So follow that feeling because it's actually it's on the right trail. Yeah. You're literally getting a scent of the foreignness of what has defeated you. Go with it, man. When people would say, I feel like I was possessed, definitely. Yes. It, and then we almost like a demonic intelligence. Yes, definitely. That's a true recognition. That's a true diagnosis. It is. Yeah. You've getting, you know it. You know that something other than you has been in you, driving you, compelling you, urging you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it. Yeah.
Follow it. Follow that little possibility because I humbly believe it's true. Yeah. I believe that something was using us for transportation. Yeah. It was using us to express itself. Yeah. It loves drama. It loves to be the center of everything. It loves all this shit. Yeah. And therefore it uses us to bathe in all that shit at our expense. Yes. Yeah. So freedom as self and freedom from self. Many of us have tried to be free as self. Many of us in before the ones that are here now tried that and they came to a conclusion that self can't get out of self. Yeah. So self cannot be free from self. Why would they say that? Yeah. Unless self is a foreign installment that we can, so the installment cannot be free from the installment, but we can be free from the installment. We can be free from the installment. because it's not our nature. It's foreign. It's a foreign nature. Yes. When do you have a flu? You don't become a flu, do you? You have a flu. A virus uses your body and expresses through that body, but it expresses as a virus or a flu. When the hell did we start calling a virus or a flu us? This is the virus of the mental state, and that's where the problem resides. It's like a mental virus that convinces us we're the virus. Yeah. And the program will snap us out of it. It will snap us out of that trance. It definitely will. If you just show up and do what we do and go, it's going to break. Yeah. The problem, and you actually could find yourself in the state of the problem doesn't exist as us anymore. Hallelujah. Because it never did exist as us. It was existing through us or on us, but not as us. Yeah. Yeah. So what has defeated us? We are not that. Hallelujah. Fantastic. Thank you for that clarification, because I was living as if I was the one who defeated me. It's going to take a long time to retrust that. So, yeah, no, it's something foreign to us. Thank God. Yeah. So there is a solution. Yeah. Not for self, but from self. So, yeah, I'm stuck on it because I didn't see in my community, it wasn't emphasized in our thing. Everyone was taught the way of doing an inventory is you're going to look at your resentments, your fears, your harms to others. And I don't believe that's what it's saying on page 64. It's saying these things we're calling ours are manifestations of something foreign in us. Yes. So let's point at Joe, what is Joe's? Yeah. And get clear. Yeah. Yeah. And obviously tell the difference. My resentment, completely different. Yeah. Money, my money. Money, I love everyone to have a lot of money. My money, I don't want you to have any of my money. Yeah. So how did the word money change? It didn't. You put my in front of it. That changes everything. We are the role of the my. Yeah. The me of the my has almost killed us. The we of the us is going to save us. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. All right. What?
Thank you. Very good. I was thinking of how it was the exact opposite when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous and was given this opportunity to pocket my pride and go to it, illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past was the absolute opposite of anything I had ever done in my life. It was always like shove it away, forget about it, drink it away, don't think about it. So it was kind of it was like the failed system had to be discarded. So I was open to this new idea of a different way.
Yes.
That's
Well,
all.
yeah. I mean, first time I did the fourth step inventory, I did not see how the first column, how I had anything to do with it. I couldn't see my role in things. So I did a fourth step, but there was no spirit in it. There was no life in it because I wasn't seeing the importance of it, which was checking out your role, Paul. Yeah. Yeah. And so that happened later when I went to these guys, Joe and Charlie seminar.
Mhm.
I saw from the person I had resented and my role in it, finally. Yeah. And that was a huge wave of recovery for me, a huge wave. And then obviously that opened the floodgates and more was revealed. And then I started seeing uh the idea of self's role in things. Yeah, as soon as I saw my role in things, it was hard not to see what has defeated me's role in things, because it has defeated me in my life or in this life. Yeah, it didn't defeat me, you know, it's defeating me in this life. So I started to see that, and then there was no turning back from there. When I finally saw self as something foreign to me, it stuck, and I haven't had anything to rebut it in 30 years. So, you know what I mean? People get upset and stuff, but what they tell me, it doesn't sound anything. I don't believe us and self mean the same thing in that sentence. I don't. And they're trying to tell me it's the collective self. I don't believe it. So, no. So, yeah, here we are. We have we got this lovely platform, put it out there. Hopefully it helps. Yeah. And if it does, pass it on, but don't pass it on. Yeah, if people aren't interested in hearing it, you don't have to say shit. Yeah. Yeah. I don't tell people you have to believe this to work with me. I work in the confines of the program, but I point out page 64, which is in the book, and let's, find out what that means to you. What is this idea of self? Because it's important to know, because it's defeated us. I mean, literally, uh, I would think it would be prime importance to figure out what that means to you. What does self mean to you? Yeah. If it means you, it has a carte blanche to defeat you. Yes. So it will express its manifestations through you, and you'll call them yours. To me, that's the bondage of self. The bondage of self is the burdens and the manifestations and the weight that it has, we carry. Yeah. That's insane to me. Yeah. Life a day at a time is enough, but to have thousands of old ideas and a huge amount of grievance come in an imaginary past, greeting each day, it's fucking shit. Yeah, people have to do 3 hours of gym and yoga and shit just to feel somewhat okay. That's insane, man. Who was doing yoga when they were 3 years old? Yeah. Who had to go do like 4 hours of stuff just to reach some kind of level of okayness? That's insane, isn't it? Literally. Does my whole morning from 9 to 1 be, I did my breathing, da, 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 and then I become dependent on that, which is another form of playing God. And if I miss the fucking session, my day sucks completely. What is, don't you, that seems like another form of slavery, right? When I was a kid, I wasn't like, I've got to prepare for 3 hours to play. I just jumped right into it. I had like 5 plastic army men I must have played with for 3 years underneath this crab tree. My mother would just put me out in the yard and I'd be completely consumed in imagination. I had like 4 or 7 fucking lousy army men. I didn't need anything. It was just fucking off. Yeah. But now, 8 o'clock, affirmations for an hour. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but don't you see there's a sense of slavery in that? Yeah. So I do more meditation now than any meditation I did when I was doing it formally. I get right to the point, and there's great peace and relaxation. I'm not in Thailand trying to meditate 13 hours a day to get somewhere. I'm not. There's nothing happening. It's like Amelia's not up yet and I'm sleeping with her. I just lay there. It's great. Yeah. Yeah. And now, for years, because my health was bad, I could never breathe through the nose. And I enjoy having air coming through the nose. So I maybe 50 nice inhales and exhales. And I just feel so grateful, because my head was blocked up for years and years. with sinus infections. Sobriety brought that gift. Yeah, I can breathe now through the nose. Wow, it's great. Yeah. Do I count how many breaths I took? No. Do I call up somebody? No. Hey, I breathe through the nose. I'm sharing this because it's just, maintenance can look like a formality or it can just be a natural thing. Yeah. Just like in AA, where certain people, they've been in AA for a while, and let's say they go to 4 meetings a week, and that keeps a certain edge blunted. And then if they stop going and they only go to 1 or 2, they realize that edge is sharp and they're fucking getting pissed at people and shit like that. Simple solution. They just go back to going to 4 meetings a week. Yes, the maintenance isn't like turning water into wine. It's just simple, common sense after you've recognized what it's like to be awake and what's needed. Yeah, it's not a giant it's not like 12 hours of work. Yeah. Can you imagine if you had an edge in your life that rubbed other people wrong and it would be blunted by just going to 4 meetings a week? What a fucking solution. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, I think, I swear, you know. Ah. Well, all right. Anyone have a question? Anything?
Anyone have a question or a share? Short.
Can I say
share?
something?
Yeah, please do, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Good to see you, Tomas. Good to see everybody here. Carrie, Michelle, Michael, no. Thanks, Paul. Always good. I was thinking, my wife used to be a declutterer for like hoarders. This disease manifests in all kinds of ways. And she was clearing out this guy's attic, and he hadn't been up there in a long time, and they were pulling boxes away, and this little glimmer of light came through, and the dude just kind of sat down and he said, I didn't even know there was a window there, and this light came through, and she told me the story, and it's like, that's what inventory was for me. It's like I had no idea there was anything behind all this stuff that I'd been hanging on to except for pure light and love, because I just there was layers and layers of anxiety and fear. And like you said, it's almost like we're paying a storage unit to keep a storage unit. And this defense system is so important that it is exhausting. In the day I'm living in, it's exhausting to hold on to anything now. And I have 10-step dudes that I call because I just don't want that in my purview at all. Because we found a better way of perhaps there's a better way, and that's writing these inventories and continually watching for these manifestations. It's funny, every time I see the word self now, and it's followed by self-absorbed, self-centeredness, self-deprecating, I'm like, wow, none of that is me. I never saw that. I didn't take full ownership of it. It was just natural that this is who I was. This is how I am. And, let's just try and stay sober. And I kept getting loaded. Surprise. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
this self thing is illuminating in itself to see that that's the role. I'm not playing the role. I'm driven by this maniac director in my life that, has to run the show 24/7, and it's exhausting. There's no meals involved. There's no nothing. It's like, get out there, go do this. It's like tap dancing as fast as we can. There's Darren Aronofsky does these movies where these people are so driven to go back to do something like The Wrestler or Black Swan, where you just can see like, oh, these people are fucked. They're never getting out of this role. And that's what I really thought before I did these inventories, that this is just the way my life's going to be. There's no way out. And hopefully I don't smoke crack again,
Yes, but you were wrong. That's cool.
Totally wrong. Isn't it great to be wrong?
It is, definitely. the greatest relief is to be wrong. Wow. Yeah. That's great, Mike. Yes. And the thing is, the stuff, when you see it, you bring it to 6 and 7 now. Yeah. So before it has weight and depth, you just give it in its blueprint stage, and you just turn it over. And then that house of fucking horrors doesn't get built. Yeah. Yeah. So 6 and 7 is very important, I feel, because if more about what we're not is revealed, that's good for the recycle bin, which is 6 and 7. Yeah. Because all it is energetics of our own life that's been mutated and put into a form that's not useful. Yeah. And so, and we can't put it into back to another form. We can't do it. But this power that can keep us sober, and for some of us struck us sober, can. And so we give it. We give it, hey, yeah, here's like an energetic configuration that may have worked 38 years ago for 1 hour. It's time for it to get reused. Yeah. And so our job is just to put it out on this, the curb, and the garbage men will pick it up. Yeah. Yeah. So 6 and 7 to me is really a recycling of energy, or what you call your life. Your life gets recycled, and then you get the zest back, so to speak. Yes. The real, like, instead of uh, getting a paragraph of the ingredients of your life, you get the meat of your life. Yeah, you get the zest back of living. And it's important here because now you're enjoying awakeness. You're not trying to avoid being awake. You're actually enjoying being awake. Yeah. So let's, all that shit that was there to keep the awakeness out, let's get it reconfigured. So it'll, yes, more awakeness in, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah. It's like changing a Petri dish. Certain things live in a certain environment and don't do well in another environment. So if your Petri dish for the parasite to survive in and thrive was acidic, let's say, the program will change it to an alkaline base, which won't be hospitable to resentment and fear and harming other people's. Yeah, it won't thrive in that. So something will change. So this is about, it's not about berating the rose bush. It's getting it, putting it in a new pot with different soil and some water and sun, and see what happens with it. Yeah, it's not like you're a fucked up rose. No, that's enough. Yeah, let's just do this and things are going to change. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not even singing to the choir. It's a fact. My life, at the condition I was in, my life had to be managed by others. Yeah, had to be. It just did not work. I had to, either I went to hospital, jail, or an institution. It just, that's what, and it was getting down to that point where I was hopeless, completely hopeless. Yeah. And inevitably that's where it will take us. Yeah. It, if the problem progresses, as they say it does, it's going to progress into that position where what you call your managing has left you in an unmanageable condition. And so therefore others will have to do it. Yeah. And this is the beauty of this message, because I believe recovery progresses also. So if you just stay sober, it progresses in and of itself. Your ability to enjoy peace of mind becomes readily available. All this stuff starts happening. You feel that new power flow in, you feel it. You don't think about it, you're feeling it. And you sense the presence, yeah, of what we are, instead of living out a sense of the presence of self, which is thinking I'm a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. That's the doer and thinker and feeler and the taster and all this shit. You sense a presence of spirit, yeah, all these things. And then you're in the better way. The perhaps is way past. You're living the better way of trusting the infinite. Literally, that's what you're doing, yeah. When you lose interest or you're not trusting the thoughts, what other than trusting the infinite's going on? Yeah. I do not trust the thoughts to lead me to a good conclusion. I just don't. Yeah. But something leads me to many good conclusions. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Anyone else?
Anyone else? Anyone else want to let their voice be heard here?
And if you ever do a fifth step or a fourth step, I would suggest that you don't have to go over meticulously every one night stand, because probably every one night stand had an underlying pattern, and just go to the pattern. You don't want the person to be with you for 18 hours listening to every fucking thing. Humbly. Yeah. Yeah. Humbly. I believe once the pattern is seen, that's the point. It's not like the point I went over every one night stand and I'm gonna drive to fucking, the Netherlands to make, no, you're not that important, really. Just see that self has defeated you through its manifestations. Yeah. Because I used to work with some people that I had to tell them not to do inventory anymore, because they self-centeredness had found a new way to be occupied with itself. They would just go over every fucking decision. Come on. Yeah. I said, enjoy the gift of recovery. Yeah. Don't make it a fucking job. Yeah. Yeah. Recovery isn't for recovery's own sake. It's for you to become a maximum use in this life, so to speak. Yeah. 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 So I remember, yeah, someone 9 hours, forget that. It's 2 hours to 3 the most, Point out the pattern. Yeah, there you go. Do you see that? Yes. Okay, let's move on. Because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at how self has defeated us by checking out some of its common manifestations. Yeah. That's to me is the point of the inventory. Yeah. So that you'll have the eyes to see the beginning of the defeat before you see it in the end of the defeat. Yeah, because it has us in a condition where we see it at the end of the defeat. We're already defeated. We want to see it before the defeat. And when you do, that's 6 and 7. You bring it to 6 and 7. Yes. And in a weird way, if most stuff is brought to 6 and 7, in your future, you're never going to go to 8 or 9, because you're not going to need to make amends because you didn't step on anyone's toes. Yeah. Yeah. It's not bad. Talk about efficiency of maintenance. That's being efficient. 2 of the maintenance steps can be taken away, 8 and 9 in a sense, because you haven't, I'm not out, I'm not stealing the neighbor's house here, Chico. I don't have ill will towards anyone in Chico. I'm not looking for that person who cut me off on Chico Highway 5. I'm gonna get him today. I'm not, I just don't have none of that kicks in, just chilled out. So yeah. All right, thank you. Anyone? Start saying goodbye then. Mickey, our greeter. Wouldn't you love going to a meeting and have Mickey the greeter? Well, here you are. You come to a non-meeting of AA and we have Mickey as the greeter.
I do that, Paul.
I know. It's very good, honey. You make us feel right at home. It's nice. Thank you.
We are at home.
There you go. There you go. All right, we got Michael Stacy, who is also the backbone of this whole thing. Tomas, my friend in Poland. Nice to see you, Tomas. Kerry, he's on the road again. Kathleen is entrenched in Pennsylvania. Mickey, Madeira, Rico, nice to see you, Rico. Brian C. in the AD, very good. Walter has some kind of string doing something. Joseph C. Before he came, the first time, I would think that was a noose he was making. But see, now it's just he's tying up some present boxes that he's sending to people just to show his gratitude for their role in his life. That's nice. Joseph C. Mia, somewhere near my house or around it. I don't know. Nice to see you. Florida, John, feeling much better. Physically great. Stephen M. Nice to, if I haven't seen you, Stephen, welcome. Before. Roman Mueller. We got Melody in Phoenix. Yes, nice to see you, Melody. We got Mike M. There's the dog. Let me see. We've got Saraswati. We got Jess in Ireland. Nice to see you, Jess. Wonderful time hanging out with you. Yeah. Sean, as always. We got Axel and Oliver from Germany. Rick Road up in Toronto. Jason. Dhruv Davula. I know Dhruv. I know Anand. Let me see who else we got here. We got a phone number, Stephanie, Ben, Jules on vocal, No. Nice foot apparel. I think, oh, Joseph in France. Nice to see you, Joseph. How are you? All right? Good, good. I think I covered everyone. Thanks. Really a nice time seeing you all. And we'll be back on Saturday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. And it'll be a live meeting also. So we have the Zoom and a live meeting at the house. All right. Thank you guys so much. See you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul.